Working moms, this is embarrassing to admit, but I spent over $1,000 following planning experts and buying every best planner of the year, and I was failing at everything that mattered most, which is missing my daughter's moments while drowning in systems that did not work. Today, I'm sharing why I stopped listening to planning experts and the role based system that actually works for working moms like us, including the critical role ranking mistake that keeps most of us overwhelmed. So, not only will I show you exactly why expert advice fails working moms, but I will give you the exact 45 minutes exercise that ended my planning struggles forever, and you can do it today. After 25 years of planning and testing every system imaginable, I discovered what most planning experts fail to address: the roles that we play in our lives. And once you understand this, everything changes. Here's what I wish that someone had told me this 10 years ago. Planning experts create systems for general ideal life and not your life. So think about it. Most planning systems are designed for people with predictable schedules and uninterrupted time blocks. College student planners assume you have blocks of uninterrupted study time. Even this beautiful Hobonichi assumes that you have quiet moments every day to journal. Here's the thing, I bought this Hobonichi with such high hopes. I was going to journal every single day, create beautiful memories, be this organized, mindful person. Instead, I got daily guilt every time I saw those empty pages. But here's what really frustrated me. Every time a system didn't work, I blamed myself. I'm just not disciplined enough. I'm not organized enough. Maybe I'm just not a planning person. Tell me in the comment box if you agree with me. What are you blaming yourself for? So, the $1,000 that I have spent on planning taught me a really expensive lesson. The real problem runs much more deeper than wrong planners. So the breakthrough came when I was juggling my 9 to 5 job, raising my daughter, and trying to keep everyone happy. And I was drowning, and no planning system was helping me. So that's when I realized that something that the planning experts failed to tell us, that I wasn't just one person trying to get organized. I am actually 7 different people. So when I was working, I was a mom, a spouse, an employee, a daughter-in-law, homeowner, business owner, and somewhere buried in there is myself. And these roles constantly fighting each other. Daughter interrupting my work calls, that is mom versus employee, and husband that depends on me for household management, that is spouse versus household manager, and then being the default parent for everything, it's mom versus individual who has her own needs. Not to mention that working overtime because others just couldn't manage their time well. So, which is employee versus a family member who wanted to be home for dinner every day. This means I was trying to use planning systems that designed for people with one clear role, but I was living a multi-role reality. Not only me, I'm pretty sure you are too. So no wonder I felt like I was failing at everything. But here's the biggest discovery that I have made. After reading the book Do What Matters Most by Rob and Steve Schellenberger, I did a simple exercise that I'm about to share with you, and that exercise made everything clicked into place. So this is the exact process that changed everything, and you can do it in 45 minutes. So step 1 is take a planning audit. Understand your planning personality first. I will share the link in the description box below, but you might be wondering, why do I need to take an audit first? Can't I just jump into the role exercise? So here's why this step is crucial. Just like some people are visual learners and others are auditory learners, we all have different planning personalities. Some people thrive with detailed daily schedules, and others need flexible weekly overviews, and some need digital systems, and others need pen and paper. So the audit will reveal how your brain naturally wants to organize information. And here's the key: your planning personality affects how you will approach your roles. A detail-oriented person will manage their mom role differently than someone who prefers big picture thinking. For example, if you are a visual planner, you might need to see your roles color-coded on a calendar. If you are a list maker, you might prefer role-based task list. So the audit helps you to understand your natural tendencies before you start redesigning your system. So step 2 is list your biggest planning frustrations. Is it work interruptions, family not cooperating, or being the only one who remembers everything? So write it all down. For me, it was things like I plan my week perfectly and then my daughter gets sick and everything falls apart. I block my time for important work, but everyone treats my time like it's available for their emergency. So now you might be thinking that this is just complaining. But here's why this step is so powerful. When you write down your frustrations, you can actually start solving them instead of just feeling overwhelmed by them. For example, when I figured out that I had constant work interruptions in my office, I started doing my top priority work at 8 a.m. before everyone else reached the office. Because about 10 a.m. onwards, things get busy and chaotic. That one change gave me back 2 hours of focused work time every day. And another frustration was that my family was not cooperating. So instead of just being annoyed, we sat down and talked about it. That's how I discovered that my husband didn't mind doing the laundry, but he hated folding clothes. So I took charge of folding and he handles all the washing. And let me tell you, his laundry skills are way better than mine. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that these frustrations can actually be addressed when you list them down and start figuring out solutions. Instead of just feeling frustrated, you can reduce or eliminate these pain points entirely. So when you do this step, don't just write, "My family doesn't help." Be specific. "My husband leaves dishes in the sink," or "My kids never put their school bags in the right place." So the more specific you are, the easier it becomes to find the practical solutions. This step transforms you from someone who is constantly reacting to problems into someone who is proactively solving them. And that makes everything else in your planning system work better. And now let's move to step number 3. Write down all your roles. Don't leave anything out. Mom, spouse, pet owner, employee, daughter, friend, homeowner, volunteer, whatever applies to your life. This step is the most crucial because by identifying each role, I know exactly what task comes with it. When I wrote down homeowner, I realized that means property tax payments at certain times, air conditioning maintenance, lawn care schedules. As a mom, it's not just spend time with my daughter, but it's also meal prep for school, being in charge of school play tasks, helping with the lessons, driving to her extra class. As a caretaker to aging parents, you need to probably schedule and bring them to hospital for regular checkups, manage their medications, coordinate with their doctors, and each role comes with its own set of responsibilities and deadlines that you are trying to keep track of in your head. So when you see each role clearly defined with each specific task, you stop feeling like you are drowning in random to-dos, and instead you understand exactly why your brain feels scattered. So now let's look into step 4. Rank these roles by importance to you. Not what society expects, not what your family expects. What matters most to you right now in this season of life? So this part was revolutionary because I realized that I had been planning according to everyone else's priorities. My role as employee was getting 60% of my planning attention, but mom and self were my actual top priorities. Let me explain exactly what I mean. So my typical weekly planning was Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. This was back when I was working in my 9 to 5 job, and I completely blocked this time for my work. My daughter's activities, those are squeezed into weekends together with my house chores and other events. And visiting my own parents, I was pushing the date so many times till I realized that I had not visited them for one whole year. And time for myself, what even is that? So What happens is when top management schedule a last minute meeting, I would move everything else around it. And when my daughter's teacher wanted to meet, I would stress about taking time off from work. And when I needed a mental health day, I felt guilty because work comes first. But here's the crazy part. When I actually ranked my roles by what mattered most, to me, mom was number one, self care was number two, and employee was number four. Yet my planning looked like employee was the only role that mattered. And here's the life changing realization. I thought I wanted to climb the corporate ladder and become the Secretary General in the government ministry, but after doing this exercise, I discovered that my ultimate happiness came from being with my family, and that brought me the most joy, the most fulfillment. So, all those late nights planning, my career advancement, all that energy that I have spent on impressing superiors, I was chasing someone else's definition of success while my real happiness was sitting right at the dinner table every night. So now, as a business owner, my current priorities are mom first, business second, and spouse is third. But here's what beautiful about the system. These priorities can shift based on what's happening in my life. For example, when my father was sick, my role as daughter became my number one priority because I need to go and visit him. And everything else, my mom duties, my business responsibilities, spouse role, got rearranged around because I have to care for my father. And that was exactly right for that season. So your role priorities are not set in stone, but they are meant to reflect what matters most to you right now in this season of your life. But here's the mistake that most working moms make. They rank their roles based on what takes up the most time, not what brings them the most fulfillment. So time spent doesn't equal importance. Once I understood this, everything changed and I started planning according to my current priorities, not society's expectations or what worked for me 5 years ago. And here's what shocked me. When you align your planning with your actual current priorities, everything flows better. You are not constantly fighting against your own values. So now let's move on to step number 5, which will be our last step. This is where the magic happens. Instead of trying to be perfect at everything, I started planning for my priority roles first. And here's exactly how I do it now. I will take my weekly planner and ask, what does my role as a mom need this week? And then I ask the same question for my business and also my spouse. So only after I've honored my top 3 roles do I fit in everything else. So the key is this. Your planning should serve your current priorities, not the other way around. When you design your week around your most important roles first, everything else falls into place more naturally. So, you have just learned why planning expert advice failed, discovered the role conflicts that create overwhelm, and got the exact 5-step process to create planning that actually fits your life. Here's what I want you to remember. You are not a planning failure because you have been trying to fit your complex, multi-role life into someone else's simple system. Your roles matter, and your priorities matter, and your planning should reflect this. So I have created a planning assessment, which I have mentioned in the first step, and it reveals your planning personality under 5 minutes. And you can also do the role exercise I have just shared. Both are completely free because every working mom deserves planning that honors who she actually is, not who experts think she should be. So the link to that exercise is in the description box below. And try the exercise this week and let me know in the comments which role surprised you the most when you were ranking them. So if this helped you to see planning differently, subscribe for more systems that actually work for real mom life. And you can also watch my other planning videos right here. Till then, have a wonderful week and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!